Hello, the unspoken woman. Welcome to the channel. The greatest spiritual gifts are never announced. They are recognized only after they've already changed the people around them. What if the rarest spiritual gifts don't look anything like the ones most people talk about? What if they don't arrive with loud miracles, dramatic visions, or endless attention? What if they show up quietly, hidden inside women who seem mysterious, impossible to read, and strangely unaffected by the world's constant noise? Here's an interesting fact. The human brain forms first impressions in just a fraction of a second, yet it can take months or even years to truly understand someone's character. Some women are exactly like that. The more you think you've figured them out, the more you realize you've only scratched the surface. The Sigma female is often misunderstood because people mistake her silence for emptiness, her distance for pride, and her independence for coldness. But beneath that calm exterior may be something far deeper, qualities that don't demand attention, yet quietly shape lives, expose hidden truths, and protect her in ways that are difficult to explain. These aren't the usual traits you've heard 100 times before. They are subtle, uncommon, and often overlooked, even by the women who possess them. Once you begin to notice them, you'll never look at the Sigma female the same way again. And don't worry, if you suddenly recognize yourself in a few of these gifts, there's no need to check whether you're secretly living in a mountain monastery. Although, if your houseplants have started respecting your personal space, we may need to investigate. Let's uncover the 20 extraordinary spiritual gifts Sigma females are naturally born with. Number 1. They instantly feel when a place has lost its peace. A Sigma female has an unusual way of reading a place that goes far beyond what most people notice. She doesn't just see clean floors, smiling faces, or beautiful decorations. She pays attention to what can't be seen. She notices the tension behind forced laughter, the silence after certain names are mentioned, and the uncomfortable feeling that something isn't quite right. While others may walk into a room and feel perfectly fine, she often senses that the peace has quietly disappeared long before anyone admits it. This isn't about being negative or suspicious. It's about recognizing patterns that most people overlook. She can tell when kindness is only for show, when a family is hiding deep problems, or when a workplace is running on stress instead of trust. Even if everything looks normal on the surface, something inside her tells her not to ignore the atmosphere. That quiet awareness becomes one of her greatest forms of protection. It helps her avoid relationships that slowly drain her, friendships built on hidden jealousy, and environments where constant conflict has become normal. She would rather leave a place that feels emotionally heavy than stay simply because everyone else says it's fine. Her greatest strength isn't that she always knows what's wrong. It's that she respects what her spirit notices before her eyes can fully explain it. Over time, that inner awareness saves her from many situations that others only recognize after the damage has already been done. Number 2, they are naturally drawn toward life-changing solitude. Most people fear being alone because silence forces them to face thoughts they've been avoiding. A Sigma female experiences something completely different. Solitude doesn't empty her, it fills her. When the noise of other people's opinions fades, her mind becomes sharper, her heart becomes calmer, and the answers she's been searching for often begin to appear. She doesn't disappear from people because she hates them. She steps away because she understands that constant noise can drown out inner wisdom. While others rush from one distraction to another, she knows that some of life's greatest lessons can only be heard when everything around her becomes quiet. This is often where she makes her biggest decisions. She reflects deeply before changing direction, ending relationships, starting new chapters, or walking away from situations that no longer bring peace. What looks like isolation to others is actually a season of growth. She isn't hiding from life, she's preparing for it. Many people don't realize that every time she returns from a period of solitude, something about her has changed. She thinks more clearly, speaks with greater confidence, and carries a peace that doesn't depend on anyone's approval. Her quiet moments become turning points that shape her future in ways loud, busy lives rarely can. For her, solitude isn't loneliness. It's where clarity is born, character is strengthened, and her spirit quietly finds its direction again. Number 3. They accidentally expose hidden motives. One of the most unusual qualities about a Sigma female is that she often uncovers what people never planned to reveal. She doesn't pressure anyone to confess, ask endless questions, or play detective. Instead, her calm presence has a strange way of making pretenses feel difficult to maintain. People who are honest usually feel comfortable around her, but those with hidden agendas often become uneasy without understanding why. She pays close attention to consistency. She notices when someone's words don't match their actions, when praise sounds rehearsed, or when kindness only appears when there is something to gain. While others may be impressed by smooth talk or charming personalities, she quietly watches the patterns. She knows that real character is revealed over time, not in carefully chosen words. What's remarkable is that people often expose themselves without realizing it. They may speak too much, contradict themselves, or reveal their true intentions through small actions they assume no one notices. The Sigma female rarely needs to confront them because the truth eventually surfaces on its own. This gift protects her from being easily manipulated. It also helps her build relationships based on honesty instead of appearances. She understands that the strongest connections are formed when people stop performing and start being genuine. In a world where many wear masks to impress others, her greatest advantage is recognizing what lies beneath them long before everyone else finally sees the truth. Number 4. They can feel when success will cost them their soul. Not every opportunity is a blessing, and a Sigma female understands this better than most. She knows that some doors open with a hidden price tag. They promise more money, more influence, or more recognition, but quietly demand her peace, her values, or her integrity in return. While others see an exciting opportunity, she often senses that something doesn't feel right, even when she can't fully explain why. She has learned that success loses its meaning the moment it requires her to become someone she no longer respects. She refuses to sacrifice her character just to impress people who will probably move on to someone else tomorrow. That's why she is willing to walk away from offers that everyone else is chasing. To outsiders, her decision may seem confusing, even foolish, but she understands that not every victory is worth celebrating. Time usually proves her right. The opportunity that looked perfect may later reveal hidden stress, broken relationships, constant anxiety, or a life built on pretending to be someone else. Meanwhile, she continues moving forward without carrying those invisible burdens. Her greatest spiritual gift isn't simply saying no, it's recognizing that protecting her inner peace is sometimes the highest form of success. She believes that losing an opportunity is never as painful as losing herself. In the end, she would rather build a slower life she can be proud of than achieve quick success that leaves her empty inside. Number 5. They detect invisible energy drains. A Sigma female has a remarkable ability to recognize the things that quietly steal a person's peace without making a sound. She understands that not every burden comes with obvious warning signs. Some slowly drain your strength through constant negativity, one-sided relationships, endless drama, or the pressure to be someone you're not. While others keep pushing through, believing they're simply tired, she begins asking a different question. What is quietly taking my peace away? She pays attention to how people, places, and even daily habits affect her spirit. If she repeatedly leaves a conversation feeling exhausted, or notices that a certain environment always leaves her anxious, she doesn't brush it aside. She respects those signals. She knows that what drains you today can eventually change who you become tomorrow. This is why she isn't afraid to create distance when necessary. It isn't an act of selfishness or pride. It's an act of wisdom. She realizes that constantly pouring into people who only take, or staying in places that slowly crush her joy, is a silent form of self-destruction. Her greatest strength is that she doesn't wait until she's completely burned out before making a change. She notices the small losses before they become major wounds. By protecting her peace early, she preserves the energy needed for the people, dreams, and purpose that truly deserve it. That quiet awareness allows her to keep growing while others are still trying to understand why they feel so empty. Number 6. They rarely worship status. One of the rarest qualities of a Sigma female is that she is not easily impressed by titles, wealth, popularity, or public recognition. She understands that these things can be earned, inherited, borrowed, or even faked. What truly captures her attention is something much harder to find: a person's character. She would rather spend time with someone who is humble, honest, and dependable than someone who has the world's admiration but lacks integrity. This mindset gives her a freedom that many people never experience. She doesn't feel pressured to chase the latest trends, compete for attention, or prove her worth through expensive possessions. She knows that real value isn't something you wear or post online. It's something you consistently live. Because of this, she often sees through carefully crafted images that fool everyone else. She recognizes when confidence is only covering insecurity, when success is built on appearances, or when influence has become more important than honesty. She isn't cynical, she's simply difficult to deceive. Her spiritual gift is the ability to separate appearance from substance. She knows that applause fades, fame changes, and positions come and go, but character remains when everything else is stripped away. That is why she places her trust in people whose actions match their words, not those whose names attract the loudest attention. In a world fascinated by status, she quietly chooses sincerity, and that choice protects her from many disappointments others never see coming. Number 7. They make manipulators feel spiritually uncomfortable. There is something about a Sigma female that unsettles people who survive by controlling others. It isn't because she argues louder, plays smarter games, or tries to expose them in public. In fact, she often does the exact opposite. She stays calm, observes carefully, and refuses to react the way they expect. That quiet self-control becomes the very thing manipulators struggle to deal with. People who manipulate usually depend on predictable reactions. They want guilt to make you stay, fear to make you obey, or praise to make you lower your guard. But the Sigma female doesn't rush to respond. She takes her time, questions what feels off, and refuses to let her emotions make decisions for her. The more someone tries to pull invisible strings, the more she notices them. What makes this so powerful is that she doesn't need to prove anyone is manipulative. She simply stops giving them access to her peace. Without attention, drama, or emotional control, many manipulators begin exposing themselves. Their frustration grows because the tactics that worked on everyone else suddenly stop working. Her spiritual gift is not the ability to defeat people, it is the wisdom to remain grounded when someone is trying to pull her away from herself. She understands that the strongest response is often quiet discernment, not loud confrontation. When a person can no longer control your emotions, they have already lost the greatest power they thought they had over you. Writing. Number 8. They have an inner alarm for false urgency. A Sigma female understands that pressure is one of the oldest tools used to cloud good judgment. Whenever someone says, "You have to decide right now," "This is your last chance," or "Don't overthink it," she doesn't become anxious. She becomes even more alert. Instead of speeding up, she slows down. She knows that truly valuable opportunities can stand up to honest thinking, while questionable ones often depend on panic. This quiet instinct protects her in ways most people don't notice. She recognizes that rushed decisions often benefit the person applying the pressure, not the person being pressured. Whether it's a relationship moving too fast, a business offer that sounds too perfect, or someone demanding immediate trust, she refuses to let urgency replace wisdom. People are often surprised by her calmness. While everyone else is scrambling to keep up, she asks the questions others forget to ask. She gives herself permission to think, observe, and sometimes walk away. She would rather lose an opportunity than lose her peace, because she acted without clarity. Her spiritual gift is the ability to hear the difference between genuine opportunity and manufactured pressure. She understands that truth never needs to trap you into making a decision before you're ready. That inner alarm has saved her from countless regrets, reminding her that a clear mind is far more valuable than a rushed yes. In a world that constantly says, "Hurry," her greatest strength is knowing when to pause. Number 9. They naturally respect what cannot be controlled. A Sigma female understands one of life's deepest truths. Not everything is hers to fix, force, or control. While many people exhaust themselves trying to change other people's opinions, rewrite the past, or control every possible outcome, she chooses a different path. She focuses her energy on what she can actually influence: her character, her decisions, and the way she responds to whatever life brings. This doesn't mean she gives up easily or lacks ambition. It means she knows the difference between persistence and obsession. She works hard, prepares well, and gives her best. But she refuses to let her peace depend on things that were never in her hands to begin with. That quiet acceptance gives her a strength that many mistake for emotional distance. When relationships end, plans fall apart, or life takes an unexpected turn, she allows herself to feel the disappointment without letting it consume her. Instead of asking, "How can I control this?" she asks, "How can I grow through this?" That single shift changes everything. Her spiritual gift is the wisdom to release what she cannot carry. By letting go of the constant need to control every person and every outcome, she creates space for clarity, resilience, and lasting peace. Ironically, the less she tries to force life into her own plans, the more confidently she moves through it. True strength isn't found in controlling everything around her, but in mastering the person within. Number 10. They feel peace faster than revenge. One of the most overlooked strengths of a Sigma female is that she doesn't allow betrayal to become her permanent address. She feels the hurt like anyone else, but she refuses to build her life around getting even. She understands that revenge has a way of keeping people emotionally tied to the very person who wounded them. The longer you seek payback, the longer you allow someone else to occupy space in your mind. Instead of wasting months or years hoping life punishes those who hurt her, she quietly chooses a different path. She protects her peace, learns the lesson, and keeps moving forward. That decision isn't weakness. It takes far more strength to let go than to stay consumed by anger. People often mistake her silence for forgiveness that came too easily. What they don't realize is that she has simply stopped giving her energy to a chapter that no longer deserves it. She knows that healing is a greater victory than revenge because it restores what pain tried to steal. Her spiritual gift is the ability to break free without carrying bitterness into the future. She doesn't need to witness someone else's downfall to feel complete. Her greatest satisfaction comes from becoming stronger, wiser, and happier than she was before the betrayal. In the end, nothing unsettles those who hurt her more than seeing that they no longer have the power to disturb her peace. Number 11. They sense when someone is performing kindness. A Sigma female understands that not every act of kindness comes from a sincere heart. Some people are generous only when there is an audience. Others give because they expect loyalty, praise, or something in return. On the surface, their actions may look admirable, but she pays attention to what happens after the applause fades. That is where true intentions are revealed. She notices the small details that many people miss. Does someone's kindness disappear the moment they don't get recognition? Do they remind others of everything they've done? Do they become resentful when their generosity isn't rewarded? These quiet patterns tell her far more than grand gestures ever could. This doesn't make her suspicious of everyone. It simply means she values authenticity over appearances. She knows that genuine kindness doesn't keep score, demand attention, or turn into guilt when expectations aren't met. Real compassion flows naturally, even when no one is watching. Because of this, she chooses her relationships carefully. She is drawn to people whose actions remain consistent whether they receive praise or not. Those are the people she trusts with her heart. Her spiritual gift is the ability to see beyond polished images and carefully crafted reputations. In a world where kindness can sometimes become a performance, she quietly searches for the rare kind that comes from character instead of applause. That wisdom helps her build relationships rooted in honesty rather than illusion. Number 12. They possess a quiet resistance to collective illusions. A Sigma female has a rare ability to pause when everyone else is rushing in the same direction. She doesn't automatically believe something simply because it's popular, repeated by influential voices, or accepted by the majority. While others may feel pressured to follow the crowd, she quietly steps back and asks herself whether what she's hearing is actually true or simply convenient to believe. She understands that history is full of moments when large groups of people were completely convinced they were right, only to discover later that they had been following fear, emotion, or misinformation. That is why she refuses to hand over her judgment just because everyone else already has. This doesn't mean she believes every conspiracy or rejects every popular idea. Quite the opposite. She values truth more than agreement. If the evidence is solid, she accepts it. If something feels manipulated or emotionally charged, she takes time to examine it before forming an opinion. Many people mistake this for stubbornness, but it is actually wisdom. She knows that independent thinking requires courage because standing apart from the crowd is rarely comfortable. Her spiritual gift is the discipline to protect her mind from being carried away by every trend, opinion, or emotional wave. That quiet resistance allows her to remain steady when others are overwhelmed by confusion. While the crowd constantly searches for someone to follow, she first searches for what is true, and that simple habit becomes one of her greatest strengths. The most extraordinary spiritual gifts are often the ones the world overlooks. They don't always announce themselves with dramatic moments or loud displays of power. More often they appear through quiet wisdom, steady character, deep discernment, and the courage to stay true to yourself when everyone else is following the crowd. If these gifts describe the Sigma female, they also reveal something important about the kind of life she chooses to live. She isn't driven by applause, controlled by pressure, or distracted by appearances. She protects her peace, values truth over popularity, and understands that real strength begins on the inside. That is why she often walks a different path. not because she wants to stand apart, but because she refuses to lose herself just to fit in. The real question isn't whether someone else recognizes these qualities in you. The question is whether you recognize them in yourself. The more you develop these strengths with humility and wisdom, the more your life begins to reflect a quiet confidence that no title, trend, or opinion can take away. If you enjoyed this video and found it meaningful, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another inspiring discussion. If one of these spiritual gifts spoke to you the most, share it in the comments below. Your story could encourage someone else who is still discovering their own path. Thank you for watching. And remember, the strongest spirit is rarely the loudest. It is the one that remains true, even when the whole world is pulling in another direction.